And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. Now, if you guys watched my last episode, you'll kind of understand a little bit about what I'm talking about in this video. Now, if you haven't had a chance to watch my most recent video I posted earlier today, there is a um, there's a link for it down in the description below. So to sum it up real quick for the few people that may not have watched it, all I did during that video was I kind of showed like some of the things that I was worried about with PWCC doing their booster box authentication service. And I wouldn't really call it a service, but it's more them authenticating booster boxes before they go on to their premium auctions. They're opening them, they're verifying the contents, and then after they verify it, they close it and they put their, tamper-proof seals, custody seals, whatever you want to call them, they put them on the actual box itself. And that's fine. But there is an issue. And I showed that in my video. One of the big issues is one, their camera is very like narrow and they're not showing the packs after they take them off screen. And this is the thing. Anytime you're verifying booster boxes, you can't be taking stuff off screen. You just can't do it. Not in the world we live in, which is modern Pokemon. In modern Pokemon today, in 2022, everything's a lot different. Now, in the past, you could also pre-record the videos where you're opening the verify stuff. We've kind of moved on from that in, today's Pokemon market. So one, you can't take packs off screen. And number two, you definitely can't do pre-recorded videos because with pre-recorded videos, there can definitely be start and stops, and then the contents of that box can change. Now, this is the thing. I'm not saying that's what PWCC was doing. I'm not saying that they were tampering with packs or anything, but I just want you to understand that when they do that and they're opening these booster boxes and verifying the contents, they're supposed to be for peace of mind for not only PWCC, but also it should be for peace of mind for whoever the buyer is of that booster box. But the problem is, once those packs go off screen, it loses a lot of that, because one of the things you think about, the same as if you submit samples to a lab or something, you want like a chain of custody, or at least you want to like, where were the packs at all points? And now, as the seller too, you also need to be super nervous too, because the seller is sending their booster box with PWCC. Now, if PWCC is taking packs off the screen, there's a lot of potentials that could be happening. And this is the thing too. Everybody's going to say, well, PWCC, all they're saying is, you have to trust us. That's the problem. The whole reason they're opening that booster box on screen and, sharing that video is because they want people to see like that there's transparency. But again, nobody's perfect. So you just have to pretend like everybody, can be faulted. Everybody could do wrong things. So when they open these booster boxes, they need to show the entire process. There can be no gaps because now, as the seller of that booster box, you can be nervous if there's stuff down the line. Now, this is the thing. When those packs go off the screen, these are all the potential scenarios that could happen. People could be weighing those packs, replacing, packs with light packs. They could be searching packs, then resealing those packs. Or they could also have 36 first edition packs that are just empty, which have, guaranteed PSA 7s or 8 quality hollows in it. So even though that booster box might still have 12 hollows in it, they're already pre-sorted. They know that they're going to only be 8s or 7s, and they're going to take out anything that's going to be really near mint pack fresh. Now, this is all the stuff. This is a lot. This is not what PWCC is doing, but I'm just warning you that this is a possibility. And like, you need to have full transparency and a total like that we're not hiding anything. Nothing's going off screen. There can be no sleight of hand and stuff like this. This is the problem. PWCC, after they, stick those tamper-proof seals on it and they rewrap it or whatever they do in order to guarantee the authentic, you know, that those packs and everything is authentic. This is the thing too. Now they start to put themselves in this weird gray area. Now, this weird gray area doesn't get talked about very often because for like a base set booster box, everybody just assumes you're guaranteed 12 hits. There's 36 packs per booster box. You're guaranteed 1 out of every 3 packs is going to have a holo, so you should at least have 12 hits. This is the thing. That is more a rule of thumb than it is an absolute law, written in stone kind of stuff. Like, it's not a guarantee. You could have some booster boxes that have more than 12 hits. You could have some booster boxes that might have a little less than 12 hits. We've seen booster boxes that have 11 hits, ones that I could think of, like off the top of my head. So now, when they do that, and now let's say the person that buys that box goes, they open it up, they still get hits, but there's only 11 of them. There will always be a question of, was it potential? Is there a chance for like potentially a pack was taken out? And this is the thing. No one would ever be able to definitively say that is not what happened. And they wouldn't be able to definitively say that's not what happened, because there will be this just, gray area in the timeline of that booster box. There will be a gray area from when the seller sent it to PWCC, when PWCC opened it, until the person who bought it. There's now a missing part of that. When those packs go off screen, there's now a missing piece of the timeline of how that booster box was handled. And you never can have that. Not today. 5 years ago, yes, you can definitely have that missing, gap in that timeline. There was plenty of videos in the past, some really reputable people that pre-recorded videos, took packs off the screen, didn't do it in a malicious sense. But this is the thing. Those older videos, the older timeline of Pokemon, we're not talking about the same prices we're talking about today. And not only are we talking about the same prices that we're talking about today, we're talking about a different time in the hobby where really scams were, few and far between. They definitely existed, but they were far less. Like, you didn't see them pop up as often as we are right now today. And you definitely didn't see them popping up on, such a high end because of like the dollar amounts that's happening. And, PWCC opening booster boxes is actually a really good thing. Like, I'm not going to shit on PWCC and say they shouldn't be opening booster boxes. They should be. And one of the reasons they should be opening booster boxes is because of like that expedition box that sold, which was, allegedly resealed and got through, PWCC and then was opened on a live stream, stuff like this. Now, all right, I personally, like, I would be more nervous if I was PWCC about the people that I gave that booster box to, because there's now multiple owners of that booster box after PWCC owned it. PWCC, sold that expedition booster box at the premier auction. Then somebody bought that booster box. Then that person who bought the booster box, talked to somebody on Whatnot and arrange for somebody on Whatnot to open that booster box. So you now like keep adding people in the timeline, more hands touching that box. Like, how many people touched the box from the time the person who bought it on PWCC handled that box to the time it got to the actual Whatnot breaker? Are there any people in between? Are there any people that were ever alone with that booster box, ever had that booster box? Like, this is the thing. The longer the timeline goes and the more people that are involved, there can always be, potentials for stuff to get resealed, because you got to think about that expedition box just for an example. At some point down the line, that thing was resealed. It goes all the way. Expedition came out in 2002. Goes all the way. The timeline of that booster box goes all the way to 2002. So at some point, somebody opened that original expedition booster box between 2002 and 2017. Crimson Invasion came out. So at some point down the line, that expedition booster box probably had it did have real packs in it. Then at some point post 2017, that box was resealed with Crimson Invasion packs. And then at some point, like, the timeline for that booster box gets pretty long. 2017 to 2022, that's 5 years. Shout out to Professor Oak, Professor Oak's in the chat because I just sneezed. But just understand, this is the stuff. If PWCC or anyone, just anyone in general, is going to take it upon themselves to start verifying contents of booster boxes. They just need to understand, if you're going to do this, do it properly, please. And the reason why I want to make this video is just kind of elaborate a little bit on my earlier video. Again, I'll say it one more time. If anybody's just joined the chat, the link for that video is down below if you want some kind of context to today's live. And I make that video. It was a very short video, like less than 7 minutes, because there's not everybody wants to watch these more long form type conversations where maybe I'm going to expand a little bit more on my thought process. But now, I don't want you guys to all think like, well, PK saying like everything needs to be opened up on screen and verified and all this stuff. No. The booster box that PWCC opened and verified was Shadowless First Edition base. Like there's a huge difference between that and, let's say, you're buying into, somebody's pack break and you're getting a couple packs of Lost Origins or whatever the newest set is out. If you're buying into a booster box break of Lost Origins or Shining Fates or whatever, and you're buying just 10 random packs, like at that point you don't have to worry. Like your stuff's not going to be resealed, especially as long as you're buying with somebody who is trustworthy in this hobby. And there's plenty of people in this hobby who are more than trustworthy enough that you don't have to worry about like, I need to see my Lost Origins booster box opened up, live stream, and the packs can't go off the screen and no sleight of hands. Like if that's your worry and you start to worry about like your 10 Lost Origin packs or something crazy like that, then my only advice to you would be you shouldn't be buying into that break in the first place if you don't trust whoever the person is handling something like that. So I don't want people to like hear this conversation and then take it to the most extremes of situations where now everything is resealed. And no, like I'm talking about the highest end of booster boxes. I'm talking about booster boxes that are selling for greater than 5 figures. First edition base is selling for greater than 6 figures. So it's a little bit different. Now, this is the thing too. I don't like that PWCC records those videos and they're kind of using it as a get out of jail free card for them in a sense, right? So meaning if that booster box does get opened in the future and there's anything wrong with it, PWCC will always be able to just kind of go back and say, hey, look, we have this video. Like, can't blame us if there's anything wrong with it. Like, we opened it, we verified it on camera, all this stuff. And I just don't like how it was open, because in my, like the way I'm looking at that video, the way I understand how that booster box was open, I think that them opening it and verifying it on camera the way they did actually tarnishes that booster box. It does not help that booster box, meaning that booster box is now in a way somewhat tarnished. And I know everybody out there is going to say like PWCC is not scamming, they're not replacing packs, they're not resealing stuff, they're not starting and stopping videos. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to lean towards that's not the case. But let's just stop pretending like everybody's perfect and nothing can go awry at any point. Nobody could ever be tempted to do wrong stuff. Just understand how many times people's hands move off screens, pack move off screens. There's so much stuff that could go on in what even during a video can seem like a very quick video. Things are constantly moving. And that was something I tried to show you in the video, where at the end of that video, that tin that was sitting on the screen the entire time, when I pick it up and I opened it up, all the packs that were inside of it magically disappear and it's full of empty G.I. Joe packs. Well, that is me showing you guys what that looks like when somebody stops a video, takes all the stuff out of it, replaces it with other stuff, and then just starts the video at the same exact spot. The tin's in the same spot. Nothing appears to be different, even though the time, there was minutes that went by for me to open that, stop the video, take stuff out of that tin, replace it with the empty G.I. Joe packs, close the tin up, and press the power button again. Minutes went by. But in the time of watching that video real time, it looks like seconds maybe went by, half a second, like there's no gap in it. And that's it. You just have to at least eliminate that as being a possibility. And that's why at the end of my video, I said everything needs to be live. Because if stuff is live, then at least people can watch it. They can go back and watch the original video. There can't really be any edits. There can't be any cuts. Everything that's going to happen is at least going to be, viewable real time. And trust me, live videos, in order to like do stuff that I did on my last video, would be impossible. So that's why it's important. But it's also should be extremely important as the seller of that booster box, you know? And I'll give you an example. So the famous, we just talked about it, but it's now becoming more and more famous, but that expedition booster box, right? Imagine for a second now that the seller of that expedition booster box, imagine if they were not the one who resealed that. Imagine if that the booster box they sold on the PWCC platform was in fact legit. It was untampered with. But at some point between that person handing that booster box off to PWCC and then to the point where it got opened, let's just for conversation's sake or argument's sake, let's just imagine that that booster box was resealed from some point where he handed off the PWCC to the point it was open and it was resealed. Packs were tampered with, replaced with Crimson Invasion. When that booster box gets returned to PWCC, PWCC has a pretty long lag time between the time where your item will sell at auction to the time you get paid out. It's weeks. It's not a fast thing. It's not like getting paid out by eBay. It's not like getting paid out on, Instagram with your PayPal or whatever. There's a long time in between. So there is a potential that that booster box got open within that timeline before that person got paid out. And the seller of that booster box could have potentially not got paid out for selling that booster box. A booster box that could potentially have been legit. So now that seller would be out the money that they should have been paid for that booster box. But then on top of that, they would also be out the actual booster box itself. So that seller could potentially be extremely hurt. So if I was a seller on the platform, knowing that that could be a potential in a very short window of time from when it sells on the PWCC platform until you get paid, I would be nervous as a seller, knowing how these packs are being open and how there can be all these, like, just all you got to do is eliminate the concern. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I don't think for us as collectors or us as people in the hobby to just ask people to start to eliminate concern is too much to ask for, or just makes, and this is the thing too. Nobody, I would say, really asked for PWCC to do this. I think PWCC decided to do this for their own benefit in order to just, save their own butts in case another expedition booster box comes across their desk and it's full of Crimson Invasion packs. I think they're doing this for their own peace of mind, for their own benefit. But if you're going to do it for your own benefit, just do it right. PWCC must have a ton of consultants that they pay, or maybe not consultants they pay, maybe just consultants that are under their payroll who work for them. Are none of these consultants stepping up and saying, hey, now that we're going to decide to start to verify stuff, one of the most dangerous things you can do in this hobby is start to slap custody seals on it and tamper-proof labels and put your name behind a product. The scariest, most dangerous thing you can do as a company, if you're going to do that, why did nobody in some boardroom meeting or some conversation or I don't even care if it was an email chain in the uppers when they decided that this was a smart thing to do. Nobody stood up and raised their hand and said, hey, if we're going to take on this responsibility, if we're going to start to open up $100,000 sealed products, which what a first edition base set booster box was, nobody decided to just step up and say, maybe we should at least do it correctly. And at least, and you could say, well, they're able to see the packs. They know that nothing's going on. If that's the case, and PWCC was just open it for their peace of mind, and they were pretty much saying a big F you to everybody else, they wouldn't even have to put that video out there. There would be no reason to put that video out there. Like I said, that video existing hurts that booster box more than it helps it. And that is a terrible, terrible thing. Video evidence should support the authenticity of a booster box. It should not bring into question the authenticity of a booster box. Does that make sense? How crazy that is? That they're actually hurting these booster boxes because they're, like I said, there's these gaps now in the timeline of these booster boxes. There's gaps. We don't know what's in those gaps. I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably nothing happened, but I cannot tell you definitively. And if somebody said to me, like, you know, my life depends on it, can I give a guaranteed yes or no that nothing happened off screen and my life depended on it? I could not tell you yes or no, because I just would, my answer would have to be like, I honestly don't know. And that would be it. And if that's, you know, it's, I just think we as a hobby need to start like progressing more, understanding that this hobby, like I talked about now on a million different videos, this hobby is very fluid. You know, this hobby's changing. Let's make sound decisions, especially if people are going to start to verify booster boxes, opening up content, stuff like that. This is now going one step further than that. So PWCC opens these booster boxes. They verify the contents, but they didn't go through every single pack. They didn't verify the seals on every pack. They didn't verify the crimps. They didn't look for any kind of residue. They didn't look for any kind of like, you know, messed up heat seals, anything like that. They went through, they opened the booster box. They said everything kind of looks good. And then they just started counting out 36 packs. I get nervous too with even that, because it's already happened so recently where the person who's verifying these booster boxes maybe shouldn't be verifying them because of like the expedition booster box. Like the expedition booster box was obviously a fake resealed box that made its way through PWCC potentially. We don't know if that was 100%, but it looks to be that way, that thing made it through, meaning the person who's doing whatever backend authenticity thing they're doing couldn't recognize a resealed booster box. But now he is somehow now qualified enough to like understand what resealed packs look like, or get the feel of resealed packs, or understand like the different types of reseal stuff like that. Which this now brings up that scary thing years down the line or months down the line. So let's say that booster box now is purchased off PWCC. It goes into somebody's collection. It stays sealed because it has those PWCC tamper-proof seals on it. And now, 4 years from now, just somebody decides to open that booster box and they're like, we're going to do a first edition base set booster box break. And everybody loses their mind because now, hopefully 4 years from now, we haven't seen a first edition booster box opened in a while. And this is kind of like an exciting thing again, 4 years from now. So it brings us into like 2026. And they say, we're going to count out, we're only going to open like the heavy packs and we're going to grade all the light packs. So they open that booster box up, they grade, you know, they pull out the 12 heavies, and now they have 24 light packs. They send them all the PSA for PSA to grade them. They open up those heavy packs on stream. There's still 12 hollows. None of them pull 10s. They all pull 8s. A couple of them pull 7s. One single one out of the 12 packs pulls a 9. And then everyone gets their packs. They sell out those packs. Then they get the return from PSA, and all 24 of those packs come back as tampered and ungradable because PSA won't grade them because those packs were in fact tampered with. So now what happens? So now we are years removed in this hypothetical situations. Years have gone by. No one knows that these packs have been, resealed inside this booster box all this time. And now the person who buys this booster box and winds up with it years down the line, trusting those PWCC seals, in fact, have resealed packs, and they never know about it. This is the dangerous part about like doing this. The dangerous thing about people slapping their names on stuff that they probably shouldn't be doing. And this is a good thing too in the hobby, where people are, for the most part, are going away from this. There's a lot of people in the hobby are moving further away from putting their name on anything like this. And definitely on top of that, people are definitely moving further away from just verifying stuff in photos and emails. And that is a really good thing in the hobby. I think there is way, way too many people that were way too willing to become quote unquote experts and verify things through emails or photos or Instagram messages. And I'm so happy that we have moved away from that. I think there was a lot of people like probably did some really dumb verifications through photos and stuff like that, meaning they're saying, well, it looks good to me. Don't even say that anymore. At this point, you should just, as a hobby as a whole, if you're not there in person, if you're not holding it, if you can't just like feel it, I think we should all just say, nope, not even touching it. Couldn't pay me to do this. No freaking way am I putting my name behind it. And I think for the most part, people did start doing that. It's just some people aren't doing it. So, but yeah, that was kind of the purpose of this live to, kind of expand a little bit on the earlier video from today. And like I said, I think that video is good because it's a short video. And you don't want, I can't in that video go through like a 30-minute long rant talking about why things are resealed and why there's things that are dangerous and the potentials down the line and all this stuff. A lot of this stuff is all hypothetical situations too, right? And hypothetical situations do and they don't have places in this hobby. They do have a place in the hobby because at least you could eliminate the thing. You know, it's one of the big things about just life in general is just eliminating threats. Or maybe not eliminating threats or at least or eliminating ways that things could be harmful, right? And all they have to do is either get a second camera or just pull that camera back a little bit, get a different camera angle, and now you at least eliminate the threat that something could be going on off screen, or at least eliminate the threat that people are now going to be, questioning, that booster box's timeline. So there's a yeah. So yeah, that was a long-winded thing, but hopefully like I was able to clear up like a little bit of what I was trying to get to. So it is Friday, or is it Friday? No, it's Saturday night. Saturday night. So I don't want to make this a super, super long live, but I'm gonna now go up on the chat, see what everyone's saying. Shout out to Drew. I see one of my mods in there. Me and Drew were talking. I don't know if you guys got to catch Rattle's most recent live where he did the hot ones or the hot ones one chip challenge, and then he walked around his local mall for like an hour. I don't know how he did it. Looked like absolutely brutal. Poor guy. I thought he was gonna die during the video. But I was saying I would love to do like a hot one wings challenge. And I ran it past Drew, and Drew said he might be down for it. So we got to tell him maybe in the future we'll do that. And I think it would be pretty simple. You just do the hot one wings challenge. So you got the 10 wings. They're all different spices. It goes from like, a classic hot sauce all the way up to like you're gonna hate your life and one of the hottest things you ever open. And then every time you would eat a wing, instead of like having an interview type question, you would just open up a pack on screen. So it would be like 10 packs would be opening and eating 10 of the spiciest wings of your life. I think that would be an interesting video, but it would kind of be one of those videos I would like to do in person. We could kind of sit across from each other at the table and not really through Zoom. I guess you could do it through Zoom. I don't think it would make too big of a difference, but I think it would be a little bit more impactful if you're able to do it real time sitting in front of each other. And then also you would kind of have to like probably do some decent edits on that video to just make it like digestible as the viewer, because there'll probably be a lot of downtime in between or a lot of just craziness going on. You would want it more to be like a PokeRev type quality, editing opposed to just the live where you could just go off on tangents or you could see people crying in the background because these wings are too hot. But yeah, I see Chris Texas, Felipe, see a bunch of familiar names in here. Yeah, Drew's so right. He said, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I see we got 21 likes right now. If you guys could smash that, I'd really appreciate that. See a lot of people in the chat that I know. But Feller says, Never go out of camera. Who does that? LOL. Wait, scammers. And sadly, in a way, that's right. You don't want to do stuff that scammers do when you're trying to authenticate stuff. Does that make sense? When you're trying to authenticate stuff, don't authenticate it as if you were a scammer, whether that was their purpose or not. Just don't do that. So Drew said, hopefully it will. Hopefully it was just due to being new to them and not knowledgeable enough about not streaming and keeping them on camera and not trying to scam. I think that's probably more likely what Drew's saying. Like it was just a knowledge gap from that person. But there's just too many things that could go on off screen. Reseals can go on off screen, but weighing packs could go on off screen. And oh my God, can you imagine? So we've seen booster boxes now open that had 36 heavy packs in it. Listen, I don't think that booster box potentially was 100% legit. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother rant of why I think that booster box could have the potential. Do you guys want a spicy topic? We could do a spicy topic. I'll talk about that booster box. So one of the booster boxes was open, and I want to say it was like a Neo Discovery booster box that's open. And it was open up on Whatnot, and it had 36 heavy packs in it. This is the thing. If I was going to reseal a booster box, if me personally, this is just for me, if I was going to do my ideal reseal situation, would be to reseal a booster box with 36 hollows. But the only way that would be worth it is if I can sell those packs individually, but the packs would need to be sold like one after another. You couldn't pre-sell all those packs, because if you pre-sold all those packs, you would pay it without that crazy premium that you're guaranteed a hollow. You wouldn't be able to pre-sell them like heavy packs. You would only be able to pre-sell them like you would any other normal booster box break, where the price is already built in, that you have the chance of light pack, stuff like that. Where obviously, like a booster box pack price is going to be less than a heavy pack price, but it's also going to be more than that light pack. But the ideal situation, the resale of booster box, is to pretty much guarantee people that every pack is going to have a hollow. And the way you're going to do that would be pick up 36 Neo Discovery, like PSA 8s. If you looked at the hollows that were pulled, they weren't the best hollows. They were like low end, mid-range hollows, which aren't expensive. This is how I'm doing. This is tinfoil hat. I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm just saying, if I'm doing the OJ Simpson version of this, if I were to reseal this is how I would have did it. I would have resealed it with 36 packs. I would have opened up the packs on Whatnot, so people would see, like, after pack 20 that they still had hollows in it, after pack 23, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, that we kept pulling hollows, because now you can get the FOMO to come in and you can get people to really bid up those packs absolutely crazy, because at this point they think they're guaranteed hollows. And the irrationality behind people and the bidding aspect, like, that would be my absolute ideal situation to reseal a booster box, because I would reseal it with 36 heavy packs, because it would be a perfect scenario where you're just going to sell packs for a crazy premium. So I'm just saying, tinfoil hat time. If I was going to do that, that's how I would do it. Again, not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you what I would do, or how I would do it. Not that I would, but how I would do it. But now this goes to the other end of the spectrum. So, okay, if you don't believe that, you don't believe the tinfoil hat that you just repacked a booster box with 36 heavy packs for the most perfect crime ever, that people would think they won, even though they actually lost, but whatever. So if you could have a booster box with 36 packs in it that were heavy, that means on the other end of the spectrum, it's not impossible now to have a booster box that would be 36 light packs. Because if you believe in a storyline where it's possible to have 36 heavies, you have to also believe that it's possible to have 36 light, right? Like, you can't tell me, no, It's possible for 36 heavy, but it's impossible for 36 light. You can't say that. You can't believe that, right? So if you believe in the 36 heavy, you can believe in the 36 light. Now you run into this issue too, where that booster box is legit, was opened up on screen by PWCC, packs went off screen, but they were just 36 light. I'm literally just taking the scenario in which some people believe in the 36 booster box, and I'm just telling you it's the opposite. It's the 36 lights. Imagine that was for base set, 36 light packs. Now get opened up on a live stream, and that booster box, in fact, is legit. Those packs were moved off camera, but nothing went on with them. But they end up all being light. And people go back and they watch that PWCC box open video, and they just see all these freaking packs go off screen. My God, can you imagine the shitstorm that would happen after that? Oh my God, it would be crazy. People would lose it. The conspiracy theories that would come out, the people that would be running out. But all you're doing is just going on the other end of that spectrum, where if you believe in that 36 Neo Discovery heavy box, I had 36 packs. 36 light packs is not impossible. It's possible. Or you get super unlucky and maybe instead of 36 light packs, maybe there's only 8 heavies or 7 heavies, like a super, we'll call it like a super light box. The shitstorm that would happen, don't even allow that to be a possibility, PWCC, right? Like, just don't make it possible. Don't put that little teeny grain of sand, shred of a doubt in people's minds. Just don't allow it. Kill that stuff before it even starts. So, yeah, that was a big conspiracy theory. But like I said, if you believe in the 36 heavy, but you don't believe in the 36 light, then maybe you shouldn't believe in the 36 heavy, because I personally don't believe in the 36 light. Therefore, I don't believe in the 36 heavy. Does that, at least that reasonality maybe makes a little bit more sense to you? That I don't believe a booster box could have 36 light. Therefore, I do not believe that a booster box could have 36 heavy. That's just my personal belief that I don't think that's possible. So it's like that Frank Sinatra song, Love and Marriage. Can't have one without the other. Can't have 36 heavy and not have 36 light. Can't have one without the other, guys. Just is what it is. So Feller Chris said, imagine if a pack was moved from video frame live, would you think that it's fishy? Not as much. Like, mistakes definitely happen, but on these higher end booster boxes, people just have to sort of keep that more in their head, be more mindful. Again, I'm going to touch base on something I talked about earlier in this video. Somebody's opening up, your 10 Lost Origin packs or something, or you bought into somebody's modern break and you bought that doesn't count. That's different. I'm talking about high end vintage booster boxes that people are paying, big dollar amounts to do. I think it's more mindful. And if you are worried about stuff starting to move off camera, maybe if somebody is out there opening $10,000 booster boxes, they should at least invest in a second camera, even if that second camera may not be live streaming at the point, as long as that second camera maybe is at least recording and at least saving itself. So you could patch the videos, make sure everything is the same, stuff like that. Yeah, and then Drew pretty much was answering Feller Chris's question too, saying there's no reason to take packs off screen. There's just no reason. Yeah. So Drew saying hopefully they're recording these people doing these pack checks. I would hope so. I would hope there's security cameras or something, wherever these guys are opening it. I hope that PWCC isn't just taking on all this even extra responsibility by not even verifying that the people that are opening these booster boxes have anybody monitoring them or stuff like that. And you want it to be on camera. You don't want this to be a game of, well, I'm going to give my I'm verbally verifying that these things were not resealed, because verbal verification in 2022 shouldn't like carry much, if anything. So Trapper said there's a few local booster boxes he's been looking at. One is over $20,000 and one is at 8K. He wants to buy them, but he's just worried about getting screwed over. Yeah. Buying booster boxes is tough, man. They're risky. Like it comes to like not every single booster box is resealed. In fact, if you had 10,000 WotC booster boxes, out of those 10,000, you could have 9,995 of those booster boxes not be resealed. But it's just 5 out of 10,000. It's a matter of just praying to God you are not the unlucky person that gets one of those 5 out of 10,000, you know? And that's why it shouldn't be like this boogeyman thing where like everyone's now scared to buy anything. And that just comes a lot to sourcing your product. Source your booster boxes to the best of your ability and do it to the best of your ability to understand like a little bit of where that booster box came from. Who are you buying it from? Where did they get it from? These are pretty simple questions. If you go and you spend $10,000 on a booster box and you message that seller on eBay and you ask them, hey, where did you get this booster box from? Super simple question. And if that person gets super defensive and they're not willing to give you an answer, I'm just going to tell you right now, just don't buy it from them. If they can't spend, I don't know, how long does it take to respond to an eBay message? 30 seconds to just like tell you the backstory of where they got it from. If they're too defensive to do that, I would be hesitant, especially when you're talking about something that could be worth $10,000. If somebody gets offended that you're worried about a $10,000 purchase, they can't take 30 seconds to tell you where they picked up a booster box from. Yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about buying that. Me personally, I would just pass on that box. The seller could be a legit booster box. That seller could just be frustrated because he has to answer another question about that lineage of that booster box, maybe. But don't sell $10,000 booster boxes if that bothers you. That's my advice to the seller. You should just sell other stuff. Now, if you're selling Lost Origin booster boxes and somebody asked you the lineage of where that booster box came from, then I would recommend to you as a seller, you probably don't want to sell it to that buyer because whoever's questioning like Lost Origins packs, you're probably in for a lot of trouble and you're probably in for like negative feedback and returns and people saying, yeah, I only pulled one rainbow rare in this booster box kind of stuff. You're going to get like real weird messages. Felipe de Sosa said, yeah, spicy is his jam. I like that. Let's see. Chug said, do it with Cool Trainer Ryan. He'd break first. So Ancient Mew said, with how many alt arts are there in Chill and Rain? Do you think Chill and Rain is slept on? Yes, I do think Chill and Rain is slept on. I think Chill and Rain is actually very slept on, especially for where the prices for Chill and Rain were sitting, at $80 for a while. I think they're probably getting close to the $100 mark. I think they're probably sitting between like $93 and $95 a booster box right now for Chill and Rain. You look at, single pack prices, the EV of Chill and Rain is still going to be less than what you're going to pay for, but the ability to pull alt art cards that are actually worth like a decent amount of money right now. Yeah, I think Chill and Rain is undervalued for what it has. And like one of the good, I call it a baseline, right? Is how many cards are in a set that's like greater than $20. $20 is a nice baseline for how many cards in a set are valued over $20. And you would actually be relatively surprised at how many cards are valued over $20 in Chill and Rain, opposed to maybe, let's say, a Battle Styles. The amount of cards in Battle Styles that are valued over $20, crazy less. Same thing with like Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield base, even Vivid Voltage. You'd be surprised at how few cards are valued over $20. And then when you get to Chill and Rain, like that entire timeline of Sword and Shield, and you start to look at, okay, how many cards are valued over $20 in Chill and Rain? You're like, yeah, maybe this booster box is undervalued with just that thought process. And there's a lot of little thought processes that go on. Fresh Tat said PK 30 minutes more. I don't know. I think I did a lot of what I wanted to do for that. Feller says PK sees behind the curtains. I don't know if I see behind the curtains or if I just don't trust anything I see. If my eyes see it, I'm still not trusting it. Double think everything, question everything. You're going to find yourself going down the rabbit hole. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But I'm also going to tell you, I've never made stupid purchases because of that. Now, I might have missed out on good purchases because I was too nervous about buying stuff, but I could also honestly say that I've never made bad purchases or bought resealed stuff because of that sort of tinfoil hat mindset I have. So I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. It is what it is. Ancient Muse says he needs his battle style booster box verified. This is what you do, Ancient Mule. You bring that battle styles booster box with you to Denver. We'll get everybody in Denver who knows anything about Pokemon. We'll all get them in the same room. We'll open up that battle styles booster box on it. We'll verify that your battle styles packs are not tampered with, and we'll put 27 different custody seals on it. We'll double wrap it. We'll tape it. We'll do all kinds of stuff. And then you'll have the most verified battle styles booster box currently known to man. Fresh Tat said PK, when Opossum coming on again, or Seismic Shock. So Seismic Shock is not coming on this channel. Opossum, maybe. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah, there's some people are not coming on. So Dad said, great insight. And he saw the last video. Very good that these companies need to be shown. Yeah. Chug said he would rather have a fake Battle Styles booster box than a real Battle Styles booster box. I like that thought process. But hey, guys, wanted to do what I always do. Keep these videos shorter than I have been. I know it's Saturday night. I know you guys got some stuff to do. Hopefully you took something out of this video. Like I said, this video was more just to expand on some of the thought process from my earlier video that I made earlier today. If you guys didn't watch that, definitely recommend you going back, watching that video. It will put this entire live I just had into context while I'm talking what I'm talking. The link for that video is down in the description below. But other than that, guys, it's always fun. Appreciate every single one of you guys in the hobby. I'm really enjoying all these lives lately. But I'll catch you guys on the next video.